The night was unusually quiet, the kind of silence that presses on your ears and makes every small sound feel dangerous. Sergei had just turned off the lights when a faint noise drifted in from the stairwell. At first, he thought it was the wind. Old buildings were full of strange whispers at night. But then he heard it again. Soft footsteps, barely audible, too careful. He opened his apartment door and peered into the dim corridor. The single bulb above flickered weakly, casting long, trembling shadows along the walls. That's when he saw her. A little girl stood barefoot near the stairs wearing a thin nightdress. Her hair was tangled, her face pale, eyes wide and glassy as if she hadn't slept in days. She couldn't have been more than 6. Sergei's heart skipped. "Hey, it's the middle of the night," he said gently. "What are you doing here?" The girl flinched at his voice but didn't run. Instead, she looked up at him slowly as if deciding whether he was real. "I can't stay there," she whispered. Sergei recognized her now. Liza. She lived in the apartment across the hall. A quiet child. Too quiet. Everyone knew her mother had died recently, found lifeless in the bathroom. The ambulance lights had painted the walls red and blue that night. After that, the apartment had gone dark. No visitors, no relatives, no laughter. "Where's your mom?" Sergei asked, already knowing the answer and hating himself for it. "She doesn't wake up anymore," Liza replied calmly. Too calmly for a child. A chill crept up his spine. "And your dad?" The girl shook her head. "He comes only at night." Sergei frowned. "What do you mean?" Liza hugged herself and glanced over her shoulder toward her apartment door. It stood slightly open, a thin strip of darkness spilling into the corridor like ink. "He told me not to tell," she said, "but you saw me." Saw what? Sergei wondered. He noticed scratches on her arm, faint but fresh as if someone had grabbed her too tightly. "Liza, has someone been hurting you?" he asked carefully. She didn't answer right away. Instead, she leaned closer and lowered her voice to a trembling whisper. "He stands near my bed," she said, breathing, watching. "When I close my eyes, he gets closer." Sergei felt the air leave his lungs. For a moment, he simply stared at Liza, unable to move. The corridor suddenly seemed narrower, darker, as if the walls were slowly closing in around them. "Liza," he said quietly, forcing calm into his voice. "Come with me, right now." She nodded at once, as if she had been waiting for someone to say those words. Her small hand slipped into his, icy cold. Sergei led her into his apartment and locked the door behind them, turning the key twice. Only then did he allow himself to breathe. He wrapped her in a blanket and sat her at the kitchen table, pouring warm tea with shaking hands. Liza clutched the mug but didn't drink. "He doesn't like lights," she murmured. That sentence made Sergei glance toward the hallway. He switched on every lamp in the apartment. "Has he been coming every night?" Sergei asked. Liza nodded. "Since Mama stopped moving. He comes through the walls, he smells like dirt and cold." Sergei's chest tightened. Dirt? That word echoed in his mind. He remembered the rumors about the building, about the man who once lived in Liza's apartment. Years ago, neighbors had whispered about screaming, about police, about a husband who vanished after his wife and child were supposedly killed in a fire in the countryside. Officially, he had died too. Unofficially, no body was ever found. "Stay here," Sergei told her gently. "Don't open the door for anyone, not for any reason." Taking a flashlight and his phone, he stepped back into the corridor. The door to Liza's apartment was still ajar. Slowly, he pushed it open. The apartment was cold, far colder than it should have been. The smell hit him immediately. Damp earth and rot. In the child's bedroom, the bed was neatly made, but the floor beneath the window was scratched, the wallpaper torn away near the ventilation shaft. The metal grate hung loose. A faint sound came from inside the walls, breathing. Sergei backed away just as a figure emerged from the shadows of the hallway behind him. A tall man, unshaven, eyes wild. "She's mine," the man hissed. "You shouldn't have interfered." Sergei didn't argue. He ran. He burst back into his apartment, slammed the door, and called the police with trembling fingers. Within minutes, sirens filled the night. The man was caught trying to crawl back into the ventilation shaft, clutching a child's old toy. Later, officers confirmed the truth. Liza's father had faked his death and lived hidden inside abandoned parts of the building, stalking his daughter.